Привет, друзья! Welcome back to Be Fluent in Russian podcast. Today we have a 3-episode series about War and Peace of Tolstoy. We have talked about Tolstoy before. Today let's highlight his probably greatest piece, his War and Peace. And I think Война и мир. As a name, Война means war, and Мир has two meanings. Peace, but it also has a meaning of the world. So Война и мир is only translated as War and Peace because some translator decided to do that. But it can also be translated as War and World. Because in this writing of Tolstoy, he kind of highlights two parts of life. One that's war, people going to war and the wars happening. And the second is life outside of the war. But when regular people live outside of the battlefront, right? You cannot call that peace. You can only call that world. So I think that a better translation would be war and world. Because things don't stop when the war is going. But I guess it's kind of like a side point. I'm going to read a text about the main idea of War and Peace, main plot lines, and then we'll just break down the text and talk about it. Now, the second episode is going to be on some story about War and Peace that not everybody knows about. And the third is going to be just simply me reading War and Peace, what I think about it, and my thoughts about War and Peace. And it's going to be free format. I'll just be speaking without any text. But today and next time, we will have a text that we'll break down and learn from. So here comes the first text. «Война и мир» — это очень большая книга Льва Толстого. Она рассказывает о жизни людей во время войны России с Наполеоном. В книге есть много героев, но особенно важны Пьер Безухов, Андрей Болконский и Наташа Ростова. Книга показывает, как люди меняются в трудное время. Одни ищут любовь, другие дружбу, третьи свой путь в жизни. Толстой хотел показать, что даже в войне есть место доброте и семье. Пьер – богатый, но одинокий человек. Он долго ищет, что такое счастье. Андрей – строгий, серьезный, и ему трудно доверять людям. Наташа – добрая, эмоциональная девушка, которая растет и учится понимать жизнь. В книге много сцен о простой жизни. Танцы, праздники, письма, прогулки. Есть и сцены битв. Но Толстой писал их не только как военные события. Он хотел показать, что война – это хаос, и никто не может полностью ее контролировать. «Война и мир» — это не просто книга о войне. Это история о людях, которые хотят быть счастливыми, даже когда мир вокруг них меняется. Поэтому ее читают во всем мире. That is all. Now let's break it down. «Война и мир» War and Peace — это очень большая книга Льва Толстого. It's a very big book of Leo Tolstoy. I guess this is a very simple sentence. Она рассказывает о жизни людей. It tells the story about the lives of people. Рассказывать is when you tell a story. Is when you have something big to tell, to talk about. Not even to say or to talk, but to tell. Like a story or some lesson. Во время войны России с Наполеоном. During the time of war of Russia with Napoleon. Notice that here we don't say Russia with France, right? Because Napoleon was French. Because Napoleon had other nations participate in the war with him as well. So it's really against him being the general of the army. It's not really against France. It's not like a soccer match or something, you know. В книге есть много героев. In the book, there's many heroes. Герой means heroes, but also, of course, can mean characters. There's a lot of characters in the book. Но особенно важны, but especially important are Пьер Безухов, Андрей Балконский, и Наташа Ростова. These are just three names of first and last, name of three people. Not much to translate here. Книга показывает, the book shows, как люди меняются в трудное время, how people change during the difficult time. Как люди... I guess this can be translated in two ways. Показывает, как люди. Shows as the people change. Как can also be translated as how people change. So it shows as people change, or it shows how people change. Like how exactly they change. Одни ищут любовь. Ones are looking for love. Другие – дружбу. Others – friendship. Третьи – свой путь в жизни. The third – their path in life. Свой путь. Their path. Свой as a word means one's own, but it depends on the subject. So if the subject is them, then it's going to be their. If the subject is I, it's going to be my. So it really will refer back to the person who is doing the action of the sentence. Толстой хотел показать. Tolstoy wanted to show. Again, we have this показать. It's the second time that we have it. Книга показывает. Толстой хотел показать. The book is showing. Tolstoy wanted to show. Что даже в войне, that even in war or during war, есть место доброте и семье. There is place for kindness and family. And there's one scene in War and Peace where they were taken hostage, one of the characters. And in that hostage camp, there was one guy who is still kind of kind to everybody around. And you think that, okay, they're probably hungry, they probably don't have a lot of comfort. They don't have even women there. It was just men in that hostage camp. And he was still very kind to everybody around. And that's, I think, a good representation of people in difficult times by Tolstoy as well. And sometimes when I'm reading the book, it's just so surprising how greatly he captured the spirit of the people, because he never lived through that time. He can only imagine it. But yeah. All right. Pierre, which is the name of the guy, Pierre. It's a very French, Pierre, very French name. I guess like Piotr in Russian, Peter. But Pierre is one of the characters. Pierre богатый. Pierre is rich. Но одинокий человек, but a lonely person. And Pierre is not rich because he inherited something. He did inherit it. He never had any richness when he was growing up. And then he came into this estate as inheritance. So he didn't grow up being rich. Он долго ищет, что такое счастье. He's searching for what happiness is for a long time. Он долго ищет. He searches for a long time. Что такое счастье? What is happiness? You know, we say that we don't really have a to be verb in Russian. We do. And it's used like this. What is happiness? Что такое счастье? So, что такое means what is it or what is. Андрей, a different character, Андрей, строгий, серьезный. Strict and serious. И ему трудно доверять людям. And it's hard for him to trust people. They have a scene where that character is shining, the character trait. Is when Pierre, this kind and lonely person, comes to Andrei's village. And Andrei is this strict and serious person. And they talk about religion. And they talk about higher cause. And Andrei is like, no, I live for myself and nobody else. And Pierre is like, well, I'm not sure. I think there's something more to this. And this is where the characters have a bit of a conflict of character. Not like a conflict in an actual text, but they don't see eye to eye on this. Natasha, third character, Natasha, добрая is kind. Эмоциональная девушка, an emotional lady, которая растет, that is growing up, growing up, и учится понимать жизнь, and is learning to understand life. And Natasha is very young in this. She's like a young lady who is growing up and trying to understand life. В книге много сцен о простой жизни. In this book there's many scenes of simple life. Танцы, dances, праздники, celebrations, письма, letters, прогулки, walks. Есть и сцены битв. And also there's scenes or chapters even of battles. Но Толстой писал их, but Tolstoy wrote them, не только как военные события, not only as the military events. Он хотел показать, again, показать is a word, he wanted to show, что война это хаос, that war is chaos, и никто, and nobody, не может полностью ее контролировать. Nobody can fully control it. «Война и мир» — это не просто книга о войне. War and Peace is not just a book of the war. Это история о людях. It's a story about people, которые хотят быть счастливыми, who want to be happy. Даже когда мир вокруг них меняется, even as the world around them is changing. Поэтому ее читают во всем мире. And that's why people read it all around the world. All right, that's it. And now, if you want to understand this text more, or you want to one day read War and Peace, I urge you guys to join Be Fluent Camp to learn Russian, to progress in your Russian in a quick way. It's an 8-week intensive course for all of you guys who want to make rapid progress in Russian. And not just because I'm going to give you a magic pill. There's no magic pill to Russian, but because you are willing to put in the effort. And you need somebody to match that effort with difficult materials. That is all. See you all during the camp, and you can join with the first link in the description to this podcast. See you all next time. Пока-пока.